Hello there, folks. My name is Spoonks, and I saw Turning Red, and it was phenomenal. Now, there's been a lot of hoopla over this one specific Pixar movie, and no, I'm not just talking about the pre-discourse where everyone was getting upset over the fact that this is about a teenage girl going through puberty. It seems that this has become one of the most polarizing and divisive films in Pixar's catalog, where people either really, really enjoyed it or really, really disliked it, and that makes sense. Sure, these are movies. You don't have to like something that everyone else does, and you don't have to hate something that everyone else does. They're movies. Feel free to have your own opinions. And it's pretty obvious where I stand on this point, as I stated already. In all honesty, this is honestly one of my favorite Pixar films in the most recent years. It doesn't come near the levels of something like Soul or Inside Out or Coco, but it was a very entertaining, sweet, adorable, and fresh new Pixar film that I really enjoyed. I loved this movie. First off, as typical with any Pixar film, the animation is outstanding. I love this new stylized look and the designs of the characters as a whole. It really brings out the cartoonish aspects to these characters as a whole, and it doesn't make them feel out of place in these realistic locations. Because the movie takes place in Toronto, Canada, they feel just like they fit into the world due to the simplicity of the designs and how they interact with the environments as a whole. They move fluid. The lighting is very well done. It's a very colorful movie. I love the use of colors, specifically on like the clothes and the buildings. It looks very nice. The textures are really well done as well. Overall, it's a Pixar movie, so of course it's going to look fantastic. Something that people had issues with was that the designs of the characters didn't look all that appealing to them. Many people just felt that it looked really out of place, and some would say ugly, and I have to disagree with that. I think these characters look adorable. Once again, the simplicity of the designs and the use of roundness and shapes for the buildings and the characters are really well done. It adds to the expressions and their movements as well. It's very cute in my opinion. I don't really have a problem with these designs. This movie is also hilarious. I was laughing out loud several times throughout this movie. Something that adds to the comedy is just the expressions the characters make. From the way they just react to certain things and scenarios just cracks me up. Whether it be how they move their lips or something going on with their eyes, or even just how they move or interact with the environment, just cracks me up. But that's not the only thing that makes the comedy work. It's the dialogue and the slapstick, and once again the interactions with the environment as a whole. There are some very relatable things that I feel that many people, specifically teenage girls, are gonna watch and go, yep, I've been there before with my parents, and it's gonna make them laugh due to how this experience has happened to them before as well. And it could also make other people's laugh as well, because it comes off as so outlandish and ridiculous that you probably would not believe the fact that, oh my god, why are these characters doing these things? How could this happen to someone? The characters in here are also really likable and entertaining. You have Mei Mei, who's just this spunky little, quirky little girl who just wants to do her best, make her friends and family proud, but unfortunately she has to go through these changes and going on through her life that causes some problems with her aspirations and her goals, and you really relate to her and understand what she's going through, because all she wants to do is just get things done, set her goals and accomplish them. But there are some trials and tribulations that get in the way of that for her. I also loved her interaction with her friends. They were all really funny and entertaining. They didn't come off as annoying or felt like they were underutilized in any way. They were a ton of fun anytime they were on screen. I loved seeing them together. But honestly, the heart and soul of this movie is Mei Mei's relationship with her mother. It really goes on to the message, which we'll talk more in detail in a sec, about like how it is important to acknowledge that your kids are growing up, and that there's going to be times where they need to do stuff that you don't approve of, and you need to be okay with that because they're changing and going through different aspects of their life. They're not going to be the same person they were as a kid. Once again, they're growing up. And the way this relationship is handled in the movie was honestly sweet, touching, sometimes heartbreaking, and concludes in a third act that, once again, of being Pixar, made me cry thoroughly and a lot. It is a really sad, emotional conclusion to this relationship that I will not get into because spoilers, but you might want to bring a box of tissues while you watch this movie. And I just love seeing their banter and their chemistry between Mei Mei and her mom, and just the two of them struggling with her going through these changes of turning into a giant red panda, which is very unexpected for two people who just want their daughter and themselves to succeed in middle school, basically. And I thought the movie really handled these two characters very well. And lastly, I will say the story was handled and executed very well as the message that I briefly discussed a couple seconds ago. It is a very simple story, albeit similar to Luca in the sense that it's small scale, slice of life, nothing too grand, just a young girl who wants to do things her mother doesn't approve of, and also navigate through the fact that she turns into a giant red panda when she gets overly emotional. Simple, yet the story manages to take its full potential and executes it very well, in my opinion. It goes places that get weird and crazy and sometimes even a little bit embarrassing, but that's the whole point, because it's a message and not really even a metaphor about puberty and even getting on your first period. Seriously, there are so many jokes about pads and utensils, and that's definitely not a bad thing. I just thought it was really funny, and I thought that it was important to point out given the material this movie offers. And I think it executes it very well. It doesn't come off too slice of life or just becomes boring, and it doesn't get too crazy to where I feel like, okay, this is just absolute insanity. It finds that right balance, similar to Luca, and the message was handled very well. It doesn't come off forced or hammered down. They tell it in a subtle and smart way that kids can handle and digest, and I felt it was also a really important message to teach to young kids, because you don't really see too many animated movies discussing topics such as going through your periods or going through puberty to this extent, and I thought this movie handled those topics very well. As for major issues and problems with the movie, I really don't have any. I mean, sure, the humor can at sometimes feel very in your face, and the energy and tone of the film can get a little bit too rambunctious, but it's not to the point where I say it's a major problem that brings the movie down or anything. I honestly don't have much to say in terms of issues. I thought this movie was really, really good. But overall, I had a blast with Turning Red. The animation is outstanding, it's hilarious, I loved the characters, and I felt that it portrayed its story and message in a very smart, clever way. So far, this era of Pixar has been exceptional, with movies like Onward, Soul, Luca, and now this just being slam dunks in terms of animated movies as a whole. And I just love seeing that we're getting more creator-driven and different types of movies that tell very personal stories from the director's perspective, and just new perspectives in general that I feel are very important to show to kids. Definitely check this out. So far, this is my favorite film of the year at the moment. Check it out on Disney Plus if you haven't already. It is a high recommendation from me. Also, Disney, if you keep releasing Pixar movies on Disney Plus, then I swear to God I will take matters into my own hands. And those were my thoughts on Turning Red. What did you all think of it if you've seen it? Did you like it? Did you hate it? Comment down below and let me know. If you like this video, hit the like button. If you like this channel, hit the subscribe button. Follow me on all the social media links at the end of the video. And until next time, everyone, stay sharp.